There we go. Okay, so some of you guys have been in here before, right? Like in Hula Hoop, making adjustments to the website?
Yeah. Yeah, Gina has. I haven't made any changes, but I've been in there.
Yeah, okay,
Kathy,
for sure. And, yep.
Oh, sorry, I was just double-checking if Kathy has. Kathy hasn't here.
Yes, okay, for sure. So we'll take you guys through the basics. Nobody here has had Hula Hoop training before, right?
Gina had, what, 5 minutes of it, was it? From someone else? So not really.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, we'll start at the start, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So let me just log out real quick here. So Hula Hoop is the content management system that your guys' website is currently running. So, like if you want to log in and adjust some of the text here, I'll take you through doing that. We'll go through also creating like a new page. So these are all pages here in this menu. We'll create a new one, and then we will add some content to it. So we'll add like some text and then some images and some links. And then we can kind of take from there. Is there anything specific that you guys wanted to make sure that I went over, like any sort of questions that you guys had from like previous adjustments that you guys were making?
Gina, do you have any or anything? Or?
No, the main thing I was after was the approving member.
Yeah, the one thing Gina was interested in, which you have on our list here, is approving a member and everything.
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll take you guys through that. So like I said, we'll go through the basics of like creating a page and then adding content, and then we can go over sort of in the list there. It's sort of, I think it's down there in the sort of in the not so basic sort of section there.
Yeah.
So we will definitely go over that. Okay. So I'll take you through logging in first to Hula Hoop. So what you're going to want to do is just go to the website, and then after the URL, after the .ca, you're just going to add /admin, and then hit the enter button here, and then you would enter in your username and your password. I'm just going to quickly throw these in here. Password, then I'm going to hit the login button here, and then that'll take me into Hula Hoop here. So I'll take you guys through, we'll start up over here in the top here. So we'll start off with the basics. So we just went over signing in, and then I'll take you guys through sort of like the Hula Hoop user interface, and then we'll go on, we'll start creating a page and actually adding content and all that stuff. So I've logged into Hula Hoop here. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's sort of two windows here. There's one over here on the left, and then one over here on the right. This one over here on the left contains all the pages that are on your guys' website. So if you want to see, the different pages, you can access them and see them from here. And then the one on the right, so this one here we sort of often refer to as like the tree view window. And then this one over here on the right is sort of like your web view window. So this is going to be the website as people are going to see it, pretty similar to how people are going to see it when they come to the website to visit your guys' website and get information. These two windows here, you can, by dragging and dropping with these little bars here, you can drag and drop them to fit your screen a bit better. I'm not going to adjust these ones here just because I'm logged in with your guys' login. So what it will do, Hula Hoop will remember the sizes of these two windows based on your login. So, you can get it to a way that fits your screen, and then it will remember those settings. If you're jumping between like a laptop with a smaller screen and like a desktop computer with a larger resolution, you can, we've built in these sort of default sizes for the web view window here. You can kind of jump around with those, and it just makes it a tiny bit easier. Another thing you can do is if you're not creating a whole bunch of pages and you want a bit more room to work on the website, you can shrink this tree view window just by hitting the little minus button here. Oh, hello?
Yep, still here.
Okay, awesome. I just heard a click. Okay, so you can hide that tree view window just by hitting the minus button there, and then you can expand this out, and then you have a bit more room to work on the website. I'm just going to close my email real quick here. There we go. Yeah, and if you want to get the tree view window back, you can hit the little plus button here, and then it brings back the tree view window.
So that's 1 second.
Yep.
My screen went blank.
Okay.
It went, okay, we're good to go.
Okay, awesome.
I'm just going to change.
Yep, for sure. So you'll notice also, okay, so another part of the user interface is you'll notice that when I hover over content on the website, you'll see these little 3 buttons that show up. Sometimes there's 2 buttons. So each content area on the website will have its own green Add Content button. So this is the content area over here on the left, and it has its own Add Content button. This one here is sort of like the header area, and it has its own content button. And this main content area as well has one, and the sidebar does over here. So wherever you see those green Add Content buttons are content areas, and you can add, text to those specific areas. Text has already been added to the website. So say, for example, this little blurb over here. If you wanted to edit it, you could just hover over the sort of orange pencil icon and then choose the edit option there. And then that would bring up the text editor, and we'll go over more about the text editor when we do the adding content section of the training session. You'll also notice these sort of arrow icons here. So you can drag and drop pages around, and then that'll change their order in the menu here. So say, for example, if you wanted to switch departments and facility rentals, you could just drag this one and drop it above departments, and it would switch their order in the menu here. You can do the same thing with content. So this is one block of content, and then this is another one. And if you wanted to switch them around, you could just drag this one and then drop it above this image here, and then it would switch it on the website. Yeah, and if you want to, edit some of the settings, like maybe you want to change the name of the About Us page, you can just hit the Edit button here for the About Us page in the tree view window, and then you can go and you can change the name, or you can change, any of the settings that you set when you first created the page. So do you guys have any questions so far about Hula Hoop at all?
I'm good. What about you, ladies?
No.
No, we're good right now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's sort of, the introduction to the Hula Hoop user interface. So the first thing we'll do is we will create a new page, and I'll walk you guys through that. There's sort of a couple of settings that we need to go over, and a couple of different things you can adjust when you're creating a new page. And then after we do that, so we'll create a hidden page that we can add sort of demo content to, and then we can kind of take it from there. So the pages you guys currently have set up are along, so these are all the top level pages here. If I shrink this here, you'll notice that these are the top level pages here. So, it goes About Us, Chief and Counsel, Departments, Facility Rentals, Membership, What's New. So we're going to create a new page. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit the Add Page button here. And that'll bring up the Page Properties window here. Okay, so we're going to give this page a name. Let's call it Demo Page. The Publish On settings, that's where you choose which side of the website this page is going to show up on. So the default setting is the public side of the website. You can change that, though, to set it to just show up on just the private side of the website, or you can choose to have this page that I'm creating show up on both the public and the private side of the website. So a lot of the times people just use the public option or the private option. But you do have the ability to create a page that's viewable on both the public and the private side of the website. And then what would change, so when somebody when somebody first comes to the website, if the page is viewable on both the public and the private side of the website, they can see different content based on whether they're logged in or whether they're not logged in. And all that stuff is things that you guys can adjust there. So like I said, for the most part, if you're creating a page that you just want to show up on the public side of the website, you just leave this as is. If you want to make a new private page, you would just select the private radio button here. So the page parent dropdown, that determines where in the menu this page is going to show up. So let's say, for example, we wanted a new page underneath Facility Rentals. What I would do is from the page parent dropdown, I would come in here and I would choose the Facility Rentals top level page as the page parent, and then it would create it as a second level page underneath here. So you'll notice that Community Hall has a third level page, So if I wanted to create a little flyout for boardroom, all I would do is I would come in here and I would select boardroom as the page parent. If I wanted to create a new top-level page, so like what's new is a top-level page, membership is a top-level page. If I wanted to do a new one, I would just leave this blank, and it would create it as a new menu option along the top here. So I'll leave the page parent drop-down blank for now, because we're just going to be creating a hidden page for the time being. So the page type options here, for the most part, probably 90%, maybe possibly more, 90% of the time or more, you will be creating an internal page, and that's just a page that you can add hula hoop content to. So you can add, text, and you can add videos, and you can add images and links and stuff like that. If you wanted to, in this menu, have a link to an external website, you can do that with this external link option here, and then you would put in your, you would type or you would paste in your URL here for the website you wanted to link through to. So some people, want to create a link to like a, I don't know, if you guys had like a park that was close by, that you wanted to create a link to, in the menu here, you would use the external links option here. Yeah, and you do have the ability here with this checkbox to have it open up in a new window. And whenever you're linking through to an external website, this is sort of a best practices thing. You're going to want to make sure that you have links to an external website open up in a new window. And that just sort of helps prevent people from wandering away from your guys' website. Okay, so the third option here that is relevant to you guys is the no link option. And that's just sort of a preference that some people have when they're setting up their website. So if I bring up your guys' website here, in your guys' menu here, departments is a page that people can click on and they can go to. Some people prefer that to not be the case. They don't want departments to be a page that people can view. They want it to just be, a top-level page, and then they want to force people to choose an option from the menu here. And then, for example, here, property taxation. If they didn't want this to be a page that people can go through to, and they wanted to force people to choose one of these options from the third-level menu here, what they would do is they would use the no link option there. Yeah, and then, facility rentals, if it were using the no link option, it wouldn't be a page that people can click on and go to. So that's just, again, it's just a preference that some people have when they're setting up a website. We often recommend that people don't use the no link option. It's just sort of more beneficial for search engine optimization. If facility rentals is a page that people can click on and just get a little blurb, and then maybe you could have some links here to the sections that are in that section of the website. It just kind of helps people as well when they're checking your guys' website. It just makes it easier for them to get to where they're looking to go. Do you guys have sort of much experience with search engine optimization at all?
No, and that's something I've been looking into lately because we're looking to boost the facility rentals page and everything.
Okay. Yeah, for sure, most definitely. So there are a couple things that we can do. And I'll go over creating like meta tag profiles in just a second. It's part of the page creation process. But yeah, so as I mentioned, people can choose to use the no link options for the facility rentals page, but it does help with search engine optimization. If this is a page and it does have information on it, just the bots that scroll through your website, they prefer that than there being the no link option used up here.
Okay.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, more often than not, you're just going to be using the internal page type here. So the template dropdown is the next thing we would go over. There are a couple different templates it looks like you guys have set up. It looks like there's one for rentals. I'm not sure why. Your guys' website was set up sort of quite a while ago. So there's sort of, yeah, I'm not sure why facility rentals has its own template. We can kind of look into that a bit later.
It might be. Could it be the booking form?
It could be. Oh no, I think this was just embedded using JotForm here. So we can create a page using both the secondary and then the rentals template, and I'll sort of give you guys an idea of what the differences are between the two, because I'm not really 100% sure myself. It just might be different header images.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. They look the same. It's hard to say. Okay, so let's go over the secondary template first. What the template does is it essentially chooses the layout of the page. So, like this, the home page is using the home page template. So there's sort of like two different sidebars here, right, in this header area and then the main content area. Whereas the secondary template just has the sidebar over here and then the main content area here over on the right. So all the template does is it just chooses which page layout, essentially, the page is going to be using. So yeah, and like I said, the secondary one is probably the one you guys will be using the most. The Y template would be similar to the secondary template, but it wouldn't have this sidebar menu in here. So those pages, so that template, if you guys have like a photo gallery you guys want to embed on a page, you could use that template, the wide template, and then you could have a bit sort of more space, right, to add images and stuff like that. So let's use the secondary template for now. The navigation order, more often than not, when I'm creating pages in Hula Hoop, I just leave it blank. Because as I mentioned previously, you can reorder pages just by dragging and dropping them over here in the tree view window. I find that that's just sort of a bit of an easier way to order your pages. You could though, so let's say for example we were creating another page under About Us, and if you knew you wanted it between say history and culture and language, you could give it a value between 100 and 300. So we could set this navigation order to 200, and then it would show up in between those two pages there. So yeah, like I said, if you know where you want the page to go, you can set the navigation order, but just usually sort of dragging and dropping it is easier. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it blank for now. The hidden option here, what it does is it still creates the page when we hit the save button, but it doesn't add it to the menu anywhere on the website. So, the hidden option is useful for if you guys are creating a new page and the content's sort of not yet ready to go to be, showcased on the website, right? So it will make it so that people can get to the page if they have the specific URL for this page. So the only thing it's going to do is it's going to just not show it in the menu here. Yeah, so these over here on the left, these are the things that you need to sort of adjust or modify when you're creating a page. Over here on the right are a couple of things that are optional. So you definitely don't have to change any of these settings if you don't want to. The custom URL, what Hula Hoop does is it automatically grabs the page name that you entered in when you were creating the page, and then it creates it as a browser-friendly website address. So you'll see that, for example, this departments page, the URL is departments. So if you wanted to send somebody a link to this page, you would just give them the link, tzeachten.ca/departments, and then it would take them through this page essentially. Facility rentals is just facility-rentals. My demo page is just demo-page. So we've added this into the search engine optimization tab here because some people do prefer to add, like 1 or 2 keywords in here. So you could do like, if you wanted to do facility rentals, you could do like Tzeachten facility rentals. Just little things like that can help with search engine optimization. So if it's something you guys are looking to do, that's just where you would change the URL here for a page. Yeah, and then you have a meta tag profile section here. So again, this would help with search engine optimization. You can apply meta tag profiles just by selecting the different radio buttons, or you can create a new one by selecting the Create New radio button here. And then what you would do is you would just enter in your information here. So the profile name, that only shows up for you guys when you're working in Hula Hoop. So you can set that to whatever you guys want. The page title will show up in 2 places. They'll show up if this page were to come up as a relevant search result when somebody was doing a search, like in a Google or Yahoo or Bing. And the second place it would show up is in somebody's browser here, like in the tab. So if you wanted to, for the facility rentals, you could do like Tzeachten, and then you could do -facility rentals. And then again, that just helps with search engine optimization. The description, people often just put, a couple, like 1 or 2 sort of short sentences in here that are going to describe what the page is going to be about. If you don't enter in a description, I believe search engines will just sort of grab the first couple sentences on a page. But there are instances where the content you guys have on the page, maybe the first couple of sentences don't best accurately describe what that page is going to be about. So you definitely can put in, a different description in here if you guys wanted to. Yeah, it just these two here, they just kind of give you more control over how your content shows up in search results, like in Google. And then the keywords here, those you would enter in just with a comma separating them. So keyword 1, and then you would put a comma, and then a space, and then the second keyword 2, like so. Yeah, and then if you wanted to save this meta tag profile, you would just hit the save button here, and it would create it, and then you could apply it to new pages later on if you wanted to. So I'm not going to save this one right now. I'm going to hit the cancel button here, and then I'm just going to apply the default one for this page. Yeah, and then the publishing tab here, how this works is it's similar to the hidden checkbox here. It does, yep.
1 second.
Yes.
We don't see anything yet. It's kind of frozen.
Yeah. So just let me know when it's sort of caught up. Was it showing the search engine optimization meta tag information?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, your connection is down. Attempting to reconnect.
Okay, yeah. So just let me know when it's connected back up there again.
I think we're good now.
Okay, awesome. So is it showing the publishing tab over here now?
Yeah, we're good to
Okay,
go.
awesome. So yeah, as I mentioned, the publishing tab works similar to the hidden option over here, but the publishing tab here allows you to do it in a time-sensitive way. So what you would do is you could uncheck the hidden option here, and then you could set a publishing date. So say, for example, you were creating a new page and you didn't want it to show up until a certain time in the menu on the website. You would uncheck the hidden option, and then you would set a publishing date. So let's say, for example, we set the 27th at 1 p.m. This page now wouldn't show up, even though it's not set to be hidden, it wouldn't show up until this time here. So the hidden option does override the publishing settings here. Just be aware of that. And then you do have another option in here. When you're creating a page, you can leave this Publish Forever option turned on, and then the page would just it would start displaying at this time, and then it would just display Publish Forever. You can turn that option off though if you wanted to, and then you could set a Publish Until date. So if we wanted this page to only show up in the menu for a week, we could set the Display Until date or Publish Until date to a week after our publish date. And then this demo page that we're creating here would only show up for a week, and it would show up as a top-level page here. Okay, so we're going to undo those settings there, and then we're going to make this page hidden here. Yeah, so those are all the settings. That's sort of like the walkthrough for creating a page. Did you guys have any questions about that at all?
I'm good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay, awesome. So if I were to hit the Save button now, it would create this page, this hidden demo page, and it would take me through to it. Hula Hoop would take me through to the page. You do have this Create Another checkbox here. So I use this option a lot when I'm sort of first setting up a website. We do have some clients who, when they're first setting up their website, they get us to create the pages and add the content for them. So what I do when I'm creating a whole bunch of pages is I check off this option, and then Hula Hoop will still create the page when I hit the Save button, but it won't take me through to the page. It will just refresh this pop-up here, and it will clear everything out, and then I can go and I can start and I can create another page. So it just saves a couple steps. You don't have to hit the Save button and then wait for the page to load, and then come back here and hit the Add Page button again. So it's maybe not something you guys would use a ton because a lot of your guys' pages are already set up. But if you guys do decide that you want to create maybe 2 or 3 or 4 pages, you can definitely use that option there, and it just makes it a bit easier. So I'm just going to create the one page for now. Actually, let's create 2 pages here. let's call this one demo page secondary. And I'm just going to really quickly update the URL here. And then we're going to create a second hidden demo page here. And we will call this one rentals template. So this one's going to be hidden as well. And we are not going to change any of the other settings. There we go. I'm not really sure why. The templates look pretty similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure why there were two created there. And it's sort of a bit hard to say because it was done so long ago.
The rentals has a testimonial part.
Ah, okay. In the sidebar there. Yeah, that's what it is. Awesome. So if you guys do want to create a page where it has the testimonials, it looks like they're just testimonials regarding the rentals.
Yeah.
So that's how you would do that. Okay, awesome. I'm glad we got that figured out. Okay, so that's, yeah, other than that, the templates are quite similar. They would have like a sidebar content area in here that would show the list of the pages that are in that section, similar to how this one does. Okay, so let's just adjust this page real quick. Make the name a bit shorter, and we'll hit the save button here. Okay, yeah. So that's the gist of creating a page. Do you guys have any questions at all about creating a page, or do you guys want to go? We can start adding content to this page now.
I feel pretty comfortable. What about you guys?
You guys are good? Okay, awesome. So so we're on our hidden demo page, right? We set it to be hidden so it doesn't show up in the menu because it's not ready because we don't have the content yet added to the page. So we're going to add some content in next. Let's just check creating a page. All right, adding content to a page. Awesome. So you'll notice that there's a little blurb here that says no content yet added for main. Hover over this area to add content. That little blurb will just show up whenever you've created a new page and there's no content yet added to a content area. So what we're going to do is we're going to hover over that little blurb of text there, and then from the Add Content menu, we're going to choose the item option here. So just a quick sort of the difference between an item and a group. An item is sort of a like a block of content. You can have some links and you can have like an image in here. So for example, this page here has a header, it has some text, and it has an image in it. This is an item. Something like a photo gallery. There's a photo gallery page. So this is an item, this little header text up here. This is a group though. So a group in Hula Hoop is just sort of a collection of assets, of items essentially. So something like a thumbnail gallery where you maybe have like 50 or 60 photos. Something like a calendar where there's a whole bunch of different events. Those are groups. That's just sort of the terminology we've used to differentiate the two. So like I mentioned, most of the time when you guys are adding content to pages, you're just going to be using the item option here. So I'm going to select that from the menu there, and then that's going to bring up the text editor. So this is called the Rich Text Editor or the RTE, and that's where we're going to be doing our adding our content and then formatting it and all that sort of good stuff. So this is really similar to a lot of other rich text editors. So if you guys have used like Word or Outlook, it's going to be pretty similar, pretty straightforward. You have your different alignments here if you wanted. So if you wanted like the right align or like the center alignment, you have your bold option over here. A lot of it's very similar. You have numbered lists and you have bulleted lists here. So I'm going to find my content. I have a text document here. So I'm just going to Control A on my keyboard and then select all the content. And I'm going to copy it here. And then I'm going to jump back into Hula Hoop. And I'm going to hit the Control V button on my keyboard. And it's going to paste the content into the page here. So just one thing to be aware of. If you're bringing content over from like Word or from like an email and Outlook, be aware that Hula Hoop, when you copy the content into the text editor here, it's going to strip out all of the any formatting that Word or Outlook was using, and it's just going to bring over just the plain text. And that's because Word, different programs use different sort of ways that they format their text, and like the formatting that Outlook and Word uses, it's not compatible with web browsers. So just be aware, if you are bringing content over, it's just going to bring over just the plain text into Hula Hoop. Do you guys have any questions about that at all?
No.
No?
Good.
Okay, awesome. So we have our content in here. We'll add some more styles to it in a bit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over creating links. So we've added in our content, it's sort of just plain and just text at the moment. So we'll add in some links, and we'll add in like an image, and then we'll add some styles, and then we'll kind of be good to go. So regarding links, there's three main sort of types of links that you are going to be creating. The first being links to internal pages, so that's like other pages on the website. The second link type is links to external pages, so pages that aren't on your guys' website. And then the third link type is links to files. So if you guys have like a PDF or something that you guys want people to view the information on, you can upload the PDF to the server and then create a link to that file. So the first couple steps are the same for all three link types. So the first thing we're going to do is, whenever we're creating a link, we're going to highlight the text. So I want these two words to link through to another page on the website. So I'm just going to highlight those, and then I'm going to select the link button here. And then from the public pages dropdown, because I'm linking to another page on the website, I'm just going to select it from the dropdown here. So let's say we wanted to link through to the economic development page. We would just select that page from the dropdown there. If you wanted to create a link to a private page on the website, you would select the page from the private pages dropdown, and then people would, if they're not logged in, they'd be just prompted to enter in their username and password before they can view that page. So I'm linking through to just a public page for now. So I've selected it from the public pages dropdown, and I'm going to hit the OK button here. And then Hula Hoop has created that link for me. So if I want to create a link to an external website, again, we're just going to highlight, these three words here, like so. And then again, we're going to select the link button here. This time though, we're going to type or we're going to paste in our URL. So I just want to link through to Google, google.ca. So I just type in the URL here. If you had it, copied, you could paste it into here. And then because we're linking through to an external website, as I mentioned previously, we're going to want it to open up in a new window, and that's just to prevent people from, again, wandering away from the website, which we don't want people to do. So we're going to go into the Target tab here, and then from the Target dropdown, we're just going to choose the new window option here. So once we've done that, we're going to hit the OK button here, and then we have our link to Google like so. So now we're going to create a link to a PDF. So we're just going to highlight the text, highlight these two words, and then again, we're going to select the link button here. This time, though, we're going to select the Browse Server button. And doing so will bring up the server that you guys have set up with us. So, the PDF you want to link through to might already be uploaded here. So, if you wanted to link through to this PDF or this file, you would just click on the name of the PDF. If you want to, if the PDF you want to link through to hasn't already been uploaded onto the server, you would have to do that. So there's two different ways you can do that. The first way that I will go over is sort of the easier of the two ways. So I'm just going to find the file on my computer here, PDFs. So I have my 3 PDFs here. I just want to upload the test one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it, and then I'm just going to, when I drag it over here into this window, this little notification pops up here, and then I can drop my file, and then it will upload that PDF for me here. So it's going to show up in the, there we go. It just shows up in alphabetical order here. So there's sort of 2 things I can do from here. I can select the name of the PDF, and then Hula Hoop would create the link for me after a couple more steps. Or you can select sort of this gray bar next to the name of the PDF here, and it will just give you a bit of information here on the PDF. So if this was an image file that we selected the gray bar for, it would even show us a little thumbnail, sort of preview of the image. And it also, for images, gives you the width and height in pixels of the image. So we're going to close this here. You do also have, you can check off multiple files here if you wanted to, and then you can delete multiple files. If you want to back them up, like on your computer before you delete them, you can check off the files you want to delete, and then you can download them first, and then you can store those on your computer, and then you can delete them from off the server here. So if you guys want to just sort of, maybe do a bit of house cleaning, I guess. You do also, with the new folder option here, with the link up here, you can create a new sort of folder. So it looks like there's a couple that have already been created. So, it essentially just makes it sort of easier to sort of, I guess, keep your files more organized. You can create a sort of subcategory if you wanted to, for like facility rentals. And then you could upload any facility rental PDFs into that subfolder. And again, it would just sort of make things a bit less cluttered. So my PDF that I've uploaded, I want to create a link through to that one. So I'm going to select the name of the PDF here. Then when I jump back into Hula Hoop, it's going to fill out everything for me here. And then again, because I'm linking through to a file, files and PDFs you want always to open up in a new window. So from the Target tab, and then the Target drop-down, I'm going to choose the new window option here. Especially with PDFs, because people will, often when they click the link, they'll read the information on the PDF, and it's sort of, I guess, habit for a lot of people to sort of just close the PDF, and if it's not opening up in a new window, they're sort of closing your guys' website, and then it's just kind of a bit of a hassle for them to, if they wanted to get back to the page, to sort of go to your home page and then find the page again. Okay, yeah, so we have our 3 links in here, and we have our text. So I'm going to hit the Save button down here. Yeah, and then you'll notice that we have a drag and drop content button for this block of text here, and then we have an Edit button, and then we still have our Add Content button here. So for the 3 links, if I select this one here, this one's going to link through to the Economic Development page, and then if I go back, this one is going to open up Google in a new tab. And then if I close that, this one here is going to open up the PDF in a new tab as well. Do you guys have any questions at all about creating links or adding in content?
No.
No? Okay, you guys are good to go? Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I want to edit this content a bit more. I want to add in like an image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the Edit button from the little Edit menu here. And then that'll just bring up the text editor again. Yeah, so that was creating links. So we're going to add an image into the text here now. So what I often do, sort of the easiest way that I've found to add images into text here, is I select the start of the paragraph that I want the image to show up in. So we have our page here. Yep.
Sorry, 1 sec, we're frozen again.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So just let me know.
Attempting to reconnect now.
Yep.
Okay, we're good to go.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so as I mentioned, so we're going to be adding an image into here. Sort of the easiest way to do that is I select the start of the paragraph that I want the image to show up in. So I want the image to show up in this second paragraph here. So I'm going to select right before the M, and then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to select the image button here. Once I do, it's going to bring up the image properties pop-up here. So what I would do is I would select the Browse Server button. And again, that's going to bring up the server that you guys have set up with us. So, if you already have the file uploaded that you want to add to this page, you can just select it from the list here. if you haven't already uploaded it, right, as I mentioned before, you can drag and drop it into this window here. Your other option is to select the Browse Files button here. And then what you would do is you would find the desktop files. You would just find the picture on your hard drive, and then you would just either double-click on the image you want to upload, or you would click on it once, and then select the Open button down here. So I've uploaded that image onto the server now. So I can select it here, and then I can go and I can finish setting my settings here for this image. So I can just adjust those a little bit. So just one sort of quick best practices thing to go over. You know, we're adding this image into this content here. We want to resize the image before we upload it onto the server, and that's just going to help with page load time. So, you know, let's say, for example, you guys were out at an event and you took a picture, you know, with your camera, and you wanted to add that one image to a page here. You would need to, do you guys have Photoshop there?
You on your computer, Tina? I don't think we do.
Okay, for sure. So I can send through, I'll send through a link when I send the link to like the training video here. I'll send a link to Picasa. Okay. It's a free photo editing program. It's done by Google, and in there, so you can bring an image into Picasa, and then you can crop it from there if you want to. The other thing you can do is you can resize it when you're saving it. And so, okay, essentially what you're doing is you're getting the file size down to a sort of web-friendly size before you upload it onto the server. So, you know, back to my example, you guys were out at an event and you took a picture with your camera or your phone. Depending on your settings, the image can sort of the file size can be quite large. You know, if you have like a really nice camera, you know, it could be a couple megabytes. You know, again, depending on the settings. So if we, you know, even if we had a couple images here, even if we just had one image and it was like 4 megabytes, it's really going to slow down the page load time when somebody's trying to view this page here. So yeah, what we would do is we would bring it into Picasa, we would resize it, and then we would upload it onto the server. So you'll notice that this cake picture that I have here, I've already resized it to 500 pixels wide by 375 pixels tall. So I don't need it really to be larger than that because I'm just going to be displaying it on the page here. So to give you guys sort of an idea of, you know, the width of the content area here on the page, if I inspect element here, this content area here on your guys' pages is only 693 pixels wide. So, you know, even if you just get images down to around that size, it's really going to help with page load times. Essentially, images are never going to be, they're never going to need to be larger than that if you're just adding them to the secondary pages here on the website. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, as I mentioned, before I uploaded my image, I cropped it and then I scaled it down to 500 by 375 pixels. So that's awesome. Okay, another sort of search engine optimization thing. Before I uploaded the image onto the server, I changed the file name. So, you know, when you're taking pictures with the camera, it's going to give it sort of like just a file name. It's going to be like a lot of, you know, like letters and numbers, right? So when Google and Yahoo and Bing are searching the website, when they're crawling through the website, they can tell based on the like the code that there's an image on the page, but it obviously can't see what the image is of. So you just want to give the bots more context as to what information is on your guys' page. So you can do that with images in two different ways. You can name the files appropriately. So this one here I've just called cake, and then you can also set alternative text for images. So the file name, set it to 1 or 2 words that sort of describe what the picture is of, if you can, and then the alternative text here you can put like a short sentence if you wanted to. And then again, those are just going to give the bots more information when they're searching through your guys' website. So I would put something like this. You could just put like an image of cake, chocolate cake with cherries, like so. Yeah, and then you can sort of, you can scale down your image if you want to in HHv. So, if you wanted the image to only be 100 pixels wide by 75 pixels tall, you can scale it down in here. So you can scale images in HHv. Just be aware, though, that browsers will have to download the entire image before it scales them down. So you can't load, so don't upload full resolution images and then just scale them down in HHv, because it's still going to, people's browsers are still going to have to download the entire image before they do scale them. Yeah, you can sort of just kind of, play around here with the width and the height, just to get it to the exact size you want, right? So the border, you can set it to 0. I believe, let's leave it blank for now, because some of your guys' images, I believe, have a special style applied to them. So I'll take you guys through how to do that. There's just sort of like a little kind of maroon border there around it. So let's leave the border blank. If you don't want a border around an image, set it to 0. If you don't set it to 0 and you don't want a border around it, some of the older versions of Internet Explorer will, if you don't set it to 0, they'll add a border around the image anyways, which is kind of annoying, and it sometimes doesn't look very great. So if you know for sure you don't want a border there, just set it to 0. The H space and the V space, so these are settings for the horizontal and the vertical padding for the image. So you'll notice that the text is right up against it, and there's sort of no room to breathe currently. So what we're going to do is we're going to add about 15 pixels to the left and right with the H space, and then 15 pixels of padding to the top and the bottom of the image with the V space. And that's just going to make it so that everything's not so cramped in here. And you guys can, you can play around with these values here. If you want them to be, maybe a bit less or a bit more, you could go down to, 10, or you could go up to 20 if you wanted to. And then the alignment drop down, that's where you choose where in the paragraph you want the image to show up. So it essentially, you're telling the image, you're telling the text how to wrap around the image, essentially. So if we choose the left option here, the text is going to wrap around like so, and the image is going to show up in the left side of the paragraph. If you choose the right option, the text will wrap around like so, and it's going to kind of look like this. So of the two options, and this is sort of another best practices thing, try to use the right alignment option as often as you can. And that's just because it helps with comprehension when somebody's reading content on your website. When we read left to right, it helps to have all the sentences start on the same line. When we're jumping down to the next line, it just kind of helps with comprehension and information retention. Whereas if you choose the left option here, your eyes kind of have to jump around on the page a bit, right, when they get down here. And it just sort of confuses the brain just a little tiny bit there. So of the two options, try to use the right option as often as you can. If you have, like 3 images on a page, you definitely can stagger them. So you can use the right alignment option for the first one, and then the left, and then the right. It's going to make the page look a bit nicer. But, if you just have one image on a page, it's sort of best to use the right alignment option there. Yeah, so that's the gist of creating or adding an image into a page here. Do you guys have any questions about that at all?
I do not. Do you, ladies?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to scale this one up maybe just a tiny bit. Let's bring it back up to 300. You know what? Let's make it 450. There we go. Okay, so we have all our settings set here. So we're going to hit the OK button here. And then HHv's going to give us kind of a preview of how it's going to look. So we can hit the Save button here. And then those changes are going to be live on the page there. Yeah, so maybe the image is a bit large. So we can go back in. We can hit the Edit button. And then you can do 2 things. You can you can left click on the image twice. Yeah, and that'll bring up the Image Properties tab again. So we can scale it maybe down to 300 if we wanted to. And then we want these to stay the same. So we're going to hit the OK button here. And that looks a bit better. The other thing you can do is you can right click on an image, and then you can go into the Image Properties tab here. With links, you can do 2 different things. You can left click on them, and then you can edit the link, or you can undo the link essentially with the unlink option here. Yeah, another thing you can do with images is you can left-click on them once, and then you can use them as a link. So you can sort of create like a button, and then the steps are the exact same for creating a link. Right, so the border around images. Let me just really quickly check to see how that's set to work. Border width 2. Let me try something. Okay, yeah, so it looks like that added the border to the image there. So let me just jump back 1 or 2 steps here. So we have our image. Let's pretend we just set all our settings and then we hit the OK button here. If we want to add that border around images, all you're going to want to do is from the Styles dropdown, choose the image border style, and it'll add that border around the image like so. And I think we can make it a bit bigger if we change the border value. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like the other ones are using 2 pixels of border around the image, so then it would just show up like so. So you would want to set the border to 2, and then after you've hit the OK button, you would select the image border style from the styles drop down there. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's the gist of creating or actually adding images into a page. Okay, so we'll go through applying styles next. Right, so we have our text and we have our links, and we have our image in here as well. So you'll notice that on some of the pages, there's some sort of styles that we've applied to the text. So to do that, all you're going to want to do is, let's say we want this text here to be our header text. What you would do is you would highlight the text. Let's get rid of this word here so it looks a bit nicer. You would highlight the text, and then from the styles dropdown, you would choose the style that you want to apply. So up at the very top of the page, you're going to want to use the H1 style. And then this is another sort of search engine optimization thing that you can do. You're going to want to use the H1 style once, and you're going to want to use it up at the top of the page. And then that's going to just give sort of, it's going to flag to the bots that are scrolling through the website that this is what the page is going to be about. So on the What's New page, it's just set to What's New, and then that's the H1 style for that page there. Any subheaders that you guys have on a page, you're going to want to use the H2 style for those. So let's add in a subheader, down here. Subheader text. So again, you would just highlight the text, and then from the styles dropdown, you choose the H2 style, like so. Okay, so regarding styles, if you want to turn off a style, what you would do is you would highlight the text, and then any styles that have been applied to that text will show up highlighted in this sort of blue style here. So you can just turn those off like so. But we want to leave that one on there. There we go. Yeah, so if we hit the Save button here, we'll have our H1 style up at the top, and then we have our subheader H2 style down below there. So the reason why we do styles this way with the style dropdown, instead of having like a dropdown for font and for color and for size, so we do it for 2 main reasons. The first reason is it's it's a lot easier to have all the styles look the exact same across all the pages on the website. So if you guys have like 4 or 5 admins, right, working on the website, it might be a bit difficult to make sure that everyone's using the exact same color and the exact same size and the exact same font, for every single header. So using CSS for the styles makes it easier so that, all the pages look uniform and they just look a bit nicer. The second main reason that we use CSS, like the styles drop down here, is because, later on down the road, maybe like a year from now, if you guys decided that you wanted the H1 style to be a bit larger, you could edit it in the CSS manager. So that's just this option down here. You could change it in one place, and it would change it everywhere on the website. If we weren't using the styles dropdown, you would have to go through every single page, and you would have to make it larger on every single page on the website, which could be, a bit time-consuming, and then, maybe you would miss a couple pages, and then, again, the styles wouldn't be uniform across the website. So those are the two main reasons why we use styles instead of having, again, just a drop-down for font and color and size. Does that stuff make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, one or two more things regarding styles. You'll notice in the drop-down here, there's sort of two types of styles. The first section is called block styles, and the second section is called inline styles. So the difference between the two is that the block styles will apply to all of the text in a paragraph, whereas the inline styles you can apply to just, one or two words in a paragraph, like in the middle of a paragraph if you wanted to. So, just sort of to demo that, if I highlight these three words here, and then I apply the small style, it's going to apply to all of the text in that paragraph. So I can turn that off just by, again, deselecting it. And then if I apply the inline style of subheader, it's going to apply just to those words here. So just be aware that there are the two sort of differences there. And I sort of mentioned that just because sometimes when you're copying content over from like Word, sometimes because Word's a bit sort of funky in how it formats its content, it'll look like two bits of text are like two separate paragraphs, but really they're, one paragraph. So for example, it might look like this when you bring it over from Word. So these look like three different paragraphs, right? But in reality, there's still one paragraph in the back-end coding. So if I did try to apply the H2 style, it would apply to all three of these bits of text here. So if you guys do run into that issue, how you would fix it is, what you do is you would select before the S here, and you would hit the backspace button twice, 1, 2, and then you would hit the return or the enter key on your keyboard once, and then you would do the same up here. So you would hit the backspace button twice, 1, 2, and then just hit the enter button one time here, like so. And now in the back-end coding for the website, this is one separate paragraph, this is a second, and then this one's a third separate paragraph. So this one here, now we can apply that H2 style without any problems. Yeah, again, so what I did here was I deleted what are called the soft returns, and then I replaced them with hard returns here. So on your keyboard, if you hit the Shift key, if you hold it down and then hit the Enter button, what it will do is it won't create another paragraph. It'll just drop the content down to the next line, essentially. So if I do the same thing twice, so I'm still holding down Shift on my keyboard, and I hit the Enter key again, it looks as though these are sort of two separate paragraphs. But in the coding, in the HTML coding, there's still one paragraph. So that's where that sort of issue pops up. So just be aware when you guys are adding content. If you do run into that issue, just try doing what I did here with this bit of text here. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. It's probably not something that you guys would run into, but I think older versions of Word cause that sort of issue. But I think the newer ones have sort of figured that out. Okay, so that's that's sort of the basics of adding content there. So now we have our header text, and we have our two subheaders, we have our image, and we have our links. Okay, so let's say, for example, we were in the content here. We're just going to go over the audit history tab here. So let's say, for example, you were editing some content, and you accidentally deleted a paragraph and then hit the save button down here, and you wanted to restore that content. What you would do is we have an audit history tab in Hulup, and it will restore revisions for content. So if we hit the edit button here, again, it'll bring up the text editor. What we would do is we would jump into the audit history tab here. And then these are all the adjustments that I've been making today. So these are all dated February 23rd. So if you know the revision that you want to restore, you can just hit the Restore Content button here. If you're not sure 100% which one you want to review or restore to, you can preview them from here just by hitting the little I button here. So this one has that header or the paragraph in it again, so you could restore it from here. If this wasn't the version you wanted to restore to, you could go view the previous revision or the next revision from here. The other option you have from the Audit History tab is you can hit the Edit button here, and then it will load that revision into the text editor here. And then you can go and you can make the actual changes you wanted to make, and you can do the changes and then restore the content by making the changes and then hitting the Save button here. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, the other thing is, that's the Audit History tab there. If you delete a bit of content off of a page accidentally, so let's say we hit the Edit button here, and we accidentally hit the Delete button here, and then accidentally hit the OK button here, and then we realized we didn't want to delete that bit of content from this page here. What we would do is we would go into the Recycle Bin module here, and then it knows that we're working on the demo page because that's the page that we were on when we selected the Recycle Bin module. And then it's going to show all the bits of content that were deleted off of this page. So there's just the one from today. So I'm going to select that. And then it has your different revisions in here. So you know, you can kind of preview all the revisions from here. You can find the one that you want to restore. I want to restore this one here. And then you can hit the Restore Backup button here. And then it'll add that content back to the page there. Yeah, so those two things, you know, they definitely come in handy every once in a while, I guess, when you're, you know, working on adding content or adjusting content. Okay, so do you guys have any questions so far about adding content to the website?
Kathy, do you have any questions? Or? No, I think we're good right now.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I noticed that there are some pages with some videos on there. So let's go over how to do that. Let's jump back to the demo page here. So, you know, let's go into YouTube. And let's get a Taylor Swift song. So there we go. Shake it off.
Definitely.
Definitely. So, okay, right. What you do is, so you guys have a YouTube channel, right, that you guys are uploading videos to?
Do we have a YouTube channel?
I don't know. There's on the home page. Let me check.
I guess like so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yes, we do.
Awesome. So what you would do is, you know, you would film your videos, you would edit them, and then you would upload them to YouTube, right? You know what? We can use this. We don't need Taylor Swift. We can use this one here. So what we would do is you would upload your video to YouTube. So, you know, this one's already been uploaded. We would hit the share button here, and then there's an embed option here. So what we would do is we would, if you hit the more button that I just clicked there, you get sort of more settings if you wanted to for the video here. So we know the size of the content area, sort of main content area here, is 693 pixels wide. So, you know, the 640 pixel option here would work just fine. It would fit on the pages there. So what we would do, and then, you know, you guys can change any of these other settings if you wanted to. What you do is once you have all those set up, you would grab this bit of content here, or this bit of embed code. You would copy it, and then back on the website, you would add in a new block of content. So we're going to choose, and we're going to add a new item onto this page. This time, though, instead of using the text editor, we would use the script/text option here. So it's similar to the text editor, but what you're telling Hula Hoop when you choose this option is that you don't want Hula Hoop to try to format the content that you're adding. You don't want it to format it as though it were text. You want it to just leave it alone, and you want it to just display it as is, essentially. So I've pasted the code for the video in just by hitting the Control V button on my keyboard, and then that's added the embed code for the video into the window here. So now I can go and I can hit the Save button here, and we have that video on the page here. So now people can, watch the video, and then once it's done, they can share it if they want to. Oh, they can share it here. Yeah, so that's how you would, embed a video. There are, maybe other things that you guys would use that would give you an embed code. Jotform is sort of one example. Jotform is a website that we sort of point people to when they want to just create like a really simple form for their website. And what you would do is you would go to Jotform, you would set up your form, and then it would give you, again, an embed code. And you could use that to embed the form on a page. Yeah, and you'll notice that when I added this video, it added the video above the content. And then again, if I want to switch those around, I could just drag this one here, and then I can just drop it here. And then that's flip those two around there. Yeah, so that's how you would embed a video. I just noticed that, on the home page there were 2 videos, and then on some of the other pages there were videos as well. So that's how you guys would do that. Yeah, do you guys have any other questions? Okay, yeah, you know what? Let's just hit the edit button here real quick. I just want to make sure, if you guys need like the registered trademark symbol, you can go in here into the Insert Special Character menu. There we go. And, like the copyright symbol is in here if you wanted to. There's a registered trademark symbol. So if you guys need those, you can grab them from there. And then, yeah, as I mentioned before, a lot of this stuff is pretty basic, straightforward, like word editing software. So if you wanted like a bulleted list, you could add one of those in here just by selecting this option here, and then adding in your, your list item 1, list item 2, like so. Right. So if we jump into the Publishing Settings tab here, you could do the same thing with content that we were doing earlier with pages. So you can set a publishing date if you wanted to, and then you could set a publish until date also if you guys wanted to. So when you add content to a page, it's default set to publish forever. You can change that though by setting a publish date, and then if you want to, you can set a publish until date, and you can turn off the publish forever option. So it works in the same way. If you set a publish date, it won't show up until that date. And then if you set a publish until date, it will continue displaying until that date. So, people, sometimes use that like on the home page if they want to sort of queue up content. If you guys have some latest news that you guys wanted to sort of queue up, you could do that. Like if somebody's going to be out of the office for the week, but you still want new stuff showing up on the website, you could definitely use that publishing settings tab there. Do you guys have any questions about that at all?
No,
okay.
I think we're good.
Okay, so let's say, for example, let's jump to one of these facility pages. There's one more thing in the Publishing Settings tab that I just want to go over sort of briefly. When you default add content to a page, it's set to publish on just this one page. So if I hit the edit button for this page here, you'll see that it's just set to show up on this page here. Content like the testimonials that are showing up across multiple pages, instead of having to add it into every single page, what we've done is we've added it to one page. So again, this one's using the rentals template. We added it into one page into the sidebar area, and then we went into the Publishing Settings tab, and then we changed the this page option to the this template option. And then what it's done is it's told Hula Hoop to, on any pages that are using the rentals template, to display this bit of content here in the sidebar. So a similar thing was done, with like the footer menu here, and like the menu up along here. So again, it's sort of not something that you guys would probably need to use often. You know, maybe for an example, if you wanted to add like a button or like a link here that says, you know, like book, you know, a rental facility, you could add that into one page, and then you could use, again, that setting to have it display across all pages that are using this template. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. Could we go over how to edit like the testimonials and like the moving pictures and everything to the header and that?
Yeah. Okay. Most definitely. So, so we're on, you know, one of the facility rental pages here.
Yeah.
If we want to edit the testimonials, what we would do is we would hover over this testimonial, and then we would choose the edit button. And then this is a group here. So, you know, if you wanted to change how many we're showing, how many testimonials we're showing at one time, you would, you know, if you wanted 2 displaying at once, you would set this to 2. Or no, you would change the other value. You would change items per row to 2. And then what you would do is if you wanted to edit or add or delete a testimonial, you would go into the Contents tab here. So these are the 3 that are currently in there. So if you want to edit the third one, you would hit the Edit button here, and then you would change the information here. If you wanted to add a new one, you would just hit the Create New button, and then you would put in your name. So I guess we usually use names for the asset name, like the person's name who gave you the testimonial, but it doesn't look like you guys are using those. So you could just, you know, name them sort of whatever you guys wanted, just to kind of help you guys later on. And then, yeah, the description would be the testimonial that would show up here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, right, and then as well the header images. So this is going to work in a similar fashion. This is another group up here. It's the, I believe, the transitional image group. Might not be. Oh, it's just the image assets group. So again, you know, I guess you wouldn't need to change really any of the settings in the style section here because these are set up. You only want one displaying, you know, at any given time, right?
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would go into the Contents tab. Oh, actually, we have it set up a bit differently on your guys' website. What you would do is you would go to the home page, and then you would hit the Edit button there. And then, again, you would go into the Contents tab, and then these are the header images here. So say you wanted to delete one out of here, you could check it off, and then you could select the Delete Selected option here. Or you could, because we're uploading, these are just image files, right? What you do is you would hit the Browse Files button here. You wouldn't hit the Create New button. You would select the Browse Files button, and then again, you would find it on your computer, and then you would upload it into the group here. So just regarding groups, just one really quick thing. There's sort of 2 ways to delete. I guess there's 2 delete buttons on this screen here, right? There's this one down here, and then there's this Delete Selected button here. So if you wanted to delete, you know, these 2 images out of here, you would select the check boxes for them, and then select this link here, and it would delete those 2 out of there. If you were to hit this Delete button down here, it would delete the entire group off of this page. So just be aware that there are the 2 different ways to delete content in groups. Items in groups. Do you guys have any other questions about that?
No.
Okay.
No, that was...
Awesome. So they do need to be a specific size, and the size is, oh, let's find it in here. This is a lot easier. They are 959 pixels wide by 317 pixels tall. So just, you know, if you are in Picasa, just crop them to that size before you upload them to the group here.
It's 950 pixels by
959 pixels by 317 pixels.
I can't read that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so 959 by 317.
We should update the header there. All right.
Yeah, okay, so do you guys have any other questions about like adding content?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, awesome. So I'll take you guys through approving a member and sort of the membership settings. And then, yeah, I kind of don't want to overload you guys with content or with information, right? So we can sort of, I'll take you through the membership settings, and then we can kind of, based on how you guys are feeling, we can go on if you guys want to from there.
Well, I'm interested in like, creating an event thing. That would be handy.
Yeah, most definitely. So we can definitely, for sure, go over that. Okay, so membership settings. People can, when they first come to the website, they can select the Register Now button. Let me just do this in Chrome. It would take them, it would bring up this pop-up here, right? They could either log in if they already have a username and a password. They could request their password so they can get like an email that allows them to reset their password from here. If they don't already have an account, they would enter in their information here. They would then select the Sign Up Now button, and then you guys would get an email, and then they would get an email as well, I believe, if I remember correctly. So they would get an email saying that like it needed to be approved and like checked over and approved, and then you guys would get an email saying, this person wants an account, log into Hula Hoop, and then approve them or deny them. So once you guys get that email, you would log into Hula Hoop, and then you would go into the Membership Settings tab. No, sorry, you would go into the Site Members tab. And anybody who is unauthorized would show up under the Closed/Unauthorized section. So these are all the people that have been approved. There's 81 people who have been approved. This person here, I guess, is waiting for approval. So what you would do is you would hit the Edit button. Oh, there's two ways you can do. So if you have a whole bunch of people in here, you can check them, and then you can either activate them or reject them. Or you can hit the Edit button here, and I believe you can do it from here as well. Right, you can activate them from here, or you can activate them and send them an activation email. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions at all about that?
Well, now, are we getting the email, Sheena, or because the issue is I don't know who's the email going to.
They're going to me.
Are they? Okay.
Okay, yeah. So under System Accounts and then Membership Settings, these Notify emails, these are where the emails are going to currently.
Okay.
So you can edit those. You can change the email address, or you can add in another person if you wanted to, and then you can hit the Save button here. Yes.
Can you back up? How did you go to that screen?
Yeah, this is under Site Accounts, and then it's the Membership Settings option here.
Okay.
I don't think that there's anything else that you would need to adjust on this page. Okay, if you guys did want to, when somebody gets a rejection email, or if they get an acceptance email, you can change the little message, the little blurb that's in there, just by editing those here.
Okay.
Yeah. So later on, if you guys do decide that you want to make it so that they don't have to require admin confirmation for an account, you can change the settings in here. These were just based on the feedback we were given way back when the website was first set up. Yeah, so do you guys have any questions at all about that?
No, but were we having issues with, what were the issues we were running with the membership one? I just want to make sure we've got everything covered.
Yeah, for sure. Were you guys running into troubles with that?
Yeah, a lot of members have been able to log in, supposedly, but we haven't been able to even get to this step right now. So
yeah, for sure. So under System Accounts, Membership Settings here, if people are having trouble logging in, you can tell them to go to the website and then select the Register Now button, and then they can put in their email address here.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't sure what email address they signed up with, you can go under Site Members, and you should, I believe you can search for people from here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put in a name here and then hit the search button. There we go. So you can search for people from here. Okay. I believe it'll search their first name, last name, username, and their email address from in here. Yeah. Oh, right. Another thing you can do. So let's say, Drew, like I called you guys up and I said, hey, I can't access the website. Can you guys reset my password for me? You can, log into here and go into the site members, and then you can hit the edit button for that person. And you can change their password from here. So you just have to type it in once, and then you would type it in again, and then hit the save button down here.
Okay.
Do you guys have were you running into any other issues?
I don't know if we've run into have we run into any other issues with the?
No.
I think we have. I think.
Just didn't know how to get in.
Okay, because I know I've had a couple people say to me that they haven't been able to log in, but again, we didn't know how to do any of this, so.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's I can't think of anything else that you guys would need to do.
Yeah.
For the membership settings. So as I mentioned, it was set up way back with all these settings. So if you guys do want to adjust just sort of adjust slightly some of the stuff, you can definitely do it from there. And if you want to change somebody's password, you can do it from here for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's jump over back to the My Website module. Or did you guys have any other questions about that at all?
Yeah, no, I think that'll cover it. I mean,
awesome.
We're going to
just
test it out, make sure that everything's good.
For sure. So you'll notice that in the tree view window, there's two tabs up here, public, and then the second being members. If I select the members tab, it's going to show all the pages that are either A, set to be viewable on just the private side of the website, or B, set to be viewable on the public and the private side of the website. So if you wanted to go to the members home, you could go and you could adjust some of the content on the members home if you wanted to. This should be the page that people, I believe, see when they first log into the website. And then they can go through, and they can check the different information here. But I believe more or less, I can't remember what the difference, there were some different membership pages here. So in the members tab here, there's a bunch of different pages underneath membership here. And these are the pages that are only viewable when people log into the private side of the website. So there's like a newsletters page that you guys can add newsletters to and all that good stuff.
A little day-to-day.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah, let me upload some newsletter files.
Oh.
November's somewhat recent. Yeah, did you guys have a question?
Sorry, did you hear that? Gina was just saying that
It wouldn't let me upload a few PDF files when I was trying to update our newsletter section.
Okay. Yeah, so if you run into that issue, just let us know. We would probably we might need to have a look at the PDFs. So, when we were doing the training session earlier, I uploaded a PDF and there was no issue. There is a file size limit, but it should be upwards of 7 or 8 megabytes. So just try to be aware of that when you guys are creating the PDFs.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you have any troubles like that, just let me know, and then we can have a look into it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, did you guys have any other questions about the private side or adding content to the website?
No, I think that's good that we cover in the private side because that was the issue.
Yeah, most definitely. Right. Okay, so you wanted to for sure go over creating an event. Do you guys have a calendar page?
No, that's something we've been talking about though.
Yeah, for sure.
Is
there the recreation, but I've never figured out how to edit dates into it.
Oh, so I guess Gina was just saying this might be one for the recreation section.
Yeah.
I can't log into the website, so.
Is it on the public or the private side? Do you know?
Private side.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Calendar. Yes. Awesome. Okay, great. So there is a calendar on the private side of the website. So what you would do is you would go to the page here, calendar. You would hit the edit button. You would go into the contents tab. So there's 2 events in there currently. It looks like they're quite old. So if you wanted to delete them, again, you would just highlight them and then select the delete button here. If you want to create a new one, you would select the create new button here. So let's create a test one here. So let's create one for February 28th. Let's just call this one upcoming event. So you would put, the name of the event in here. You would put your information in here. So let's just grab, like a sentence, a couple sentences here. You would put in, a bit of a header here. Let's just use the H2 style. For this, you would put in your information. So this is, again, just the text editor. So you can add, an image if you wanted into here. You could add links if you wanted to. And then what you would do is you would set a date. So this one's the 28th. And then if we hit the Save button here, and then the Save button here, we should have an event on the 28th.
Okay, sorry, frozen again.
Okay, yeah. So what didn't you guys see?
We didn't see the date. We got up to the date. It's
Most definitely. Okay. So let me just jump back into where I was. Yeah, there we go. So let me know when it's showing up.
I think it's catching up right now.
Okay, awesome. So it should show the page where it says, upcoming events up at the top.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. So it's a bit redundant to have the name of the event in here again, I just noticed. So I'm going to delete that out of here. Right, so the asset date. I set that to the 28th. And then all I did was I hit the Save button here, and then I hit the Save button here again. And now we have our upcoming event, and it's showing the date, and then it's showing the description that we put in there. So if we go back and we hit the Edit button, and we go back into the Contents tab, and we created a new event, let's call this one Friday Meeting. Again, we'll put in, a couple sentences here, like so. And let's say that this is a reoccurring event. There's an asset reoccurring settings area here, so we're going to click to expand that. And then what we would do is we would go in here, and it's sort of been a while since I've been in here. But yeah, okay. So let's say it starts on let's say it starts this Friday, because it's the Friday meeting. And so you have two different options here for when it ends. You can either have it end on a certain date, or you can have it end after a certain number of occurrences. So, you could either do, like, the Friday meeting only happens for a month, or it happens for, X number of times. And then what you can do is you can set it to reoccur weekly, so it's going to happen every 1 week. You can set it to 2 weeks or every 3 weeks if you wanted to. And then you can set it to the day that it reoccurs on.
Okay.
So this event starts on this date, it ends on this date, and it happens every 1 week on the Friday. You also have monthly options there if you wanted to. So like it can reoccur every 1 month on the first Sunday if you wanted to, or every 1 month on the 5th if you wanted to.
Okay.
You also have days of the month. So if you have an event that happens, say, on the 22nd and 23rd and 24th of 1 month, you can set the beginning month here and then the end month here, and then it would happen on the same days that you check here on every month, essentially. So this one we just want to have reoccur every Friday. So let's hit the Save button here, and then that should work. So what Hula Hoop would do is it creates a new entry for each one.
Okay.
And then when we hit the Save button here, we should have a Friday meeting here, like so, on the 27th. And then if we jump forward to March, we should have 3 in here as well, like so. Do you guys have any questions at all about that?
I have 2 questions. One,
Yeah.
is it possible to add a time to that, or do you just have to add that into the description?
You would add it into the description here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other question is a calendar just a group? Like, if we wanted to add in a calendar, because I was thinking for, like, membership meetings and all that, is it just a group we'd add a new calendar for, or?
Yes, it most definitely is. So
Okay.
I just added in a time.
That would,
Oh, it didn't save it. I didn't save it. Oh, there we go, upcoming event. So I put the time in for this one. Okay, so are you wondering about creating a new calendar on another page?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking that, this is something we could use for not just the recreation, we could use it for a lot of other things too.
Yeah, most definitely. So let's jump to actually, let's go here really quickly. Do you guys want to save these two in here, or do you want me to delete all of them?
You can delete them all.
Okay, I'm just going to clear these out of there.
Oh, this a little old.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so I've cleared those out of there. So let's jump back to oh, no, we don't want to create a new page. We want to go back to the public page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly switch over the template to the Y template so we have room to work on a calendar on our demo page, like so. And we're going to get rid of this video as well. We don't need it in there. So to add a new calendar, we would, from the Add Content menu, choose the Group option. We would select the Calendar option here, and then we would go into the Contents tab. We don't have to set any of these settings here. We would just jump into here. And then you would go and you would just start creating your events. So let's call this one Friday meeting, and it happens on the 27th. And we'll put in our blurb here, and then we would hit the Save button, and then we'll hit the Save button again, and then it should add, there we go, calendar in here with the Friday meeting. And then again, we can drag and we can drop, and then it shows up lower down on the page there.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this page here doesn't look like it has a header assigned to it. I'm not sure why. That's a bit weird. So one thing you could do is you could go to another page here. And this is sort of something that you guys, would maybe need to do here. So we have our headers in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can copy content in Hula Hoop. So we would just hover over the Edit button here, and we would select the Copy option. And it's going to copy it onto our clipboard. So we hit the OK button here, and then we would jump over to Demo page. And then we can choose the Paste option here. And then we can choose we can either paste it as a linked asset, or we can paste it as a new asset. So how that works is, if I were to paste it as a linked asset, if I change it on one page, it would change it on this page here that I'm adding it to. If I were to paste it as a new asset, they would be independent from each other. And I could change one, and then the one on this page wouldn't change here. I'm not sure why your guys' website was set up like that, though. I guess maybe because this template is only being used on the private side of the website. I'm not really sure. It was under facility rentals, right? Calendar. Wide. Yeah, I'm not really sure why that's like that, though. But we could definitely adjust that if you guys wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So did you guys have any other questions about any of that?
No. Do you guys have any questions or anything? Or is there anything you want to go over? Or there's a lot of stuff on there. I realize we have to update.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big job.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you guys, I'll have to double check to see if you guys are paying for Hula Hoop support. I'll include that in the email that I sent through with the YouTube video and the link to Picasa.
Perfect.
And we have some help videos set up as well. I'll send you guys links to those. So they just kind of go over, some of the things that we went over here. There's maybe one or two things that we didn't go over. Oh, you know what? We could go over creating a thumbnail photo gallery. Do you guys want to go over that real quick?
Create a photo gallery? Sure, let's go over it.
Okay, for sure. So the easiest way, I'm going to show you guys the easy way to do it. About Us, you guys have a photo gallery here, right? Awesome.
Yep.
So this photo gallery looks great. People can click through the large images after they click on the thumbnail, and it'll give them a nice large view of the photo gallery, or of the photo there. So let's say we wanted to replicate this photo gallery, and we wanted to add a photo gallery to the demo page. The easiest way to do that is to use the copy and paste functionality in Hula Hoop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this photo gallery because it has all the settings that we want for our photo gallery. So instead of having to create a new one and copy all of those settings, we're just going to copy it onto our clipboard. We're going to jump to the demo page. You know what, we're going to get rid of this really quickly here. Delete, yes. Actually, let's jump over to the rentals page here. And then what we would do is we would select the paste option. And then there's an unnamed thumbnail gallery. So we would paste it as a new asset because we want this one to be independent from the other one. There we go. So then what we would do is we would select the edit button here. We would jump into the contents tab. We would delete all of the photos that are currently in there. We don't want any of these in our new photo gallery. And then we would browse files. And this is just going to bring up your hard drive on your computer. So we want to upload these 4 images. So we select them and then select the open option. Oh, we're getting an error. Let's see if we get it for all of them. I might need to run this past our programmer. Yeah, it doesn't look like those are up. Oh, maybe they are. Our internet's just been kind of weird today.
Oh, good. Mine went down for some reason.
Yeah. Didn't like that image the first time, but it liked it the second time. So that's a bit weird. So if you run into that issue again, let me know.
Okay.
Right, okay, so we've uploaded our new images. Yeah, and then all you would do is you would hit the save button down here. And there we go. We have our new photo gallery with our new images, and people can click on them. And they can sort of, browse through the images there. So that, that's the easiest way to do it. If you do want to, create a new one, these are just the settings that we've used. So the thumbnails are 130 pixels wide. The large width is the large image that pops up when people select the thumbnails. That's set to 800 pixels wide. You guys could maybe make that a bit larger. 800, I guess, sort of a bit small kind of nowadays for people's browsers. So maybe if you wanted to up that to like 1200, you could.
Okay.
Yeah, and then items per row is set to 5, and H space and V space is also set to 5. So these are just the these are the paddings between the images there, and then items per row, pretty straightforward. It's how many show up in a row there on the page. Yeah, did you have any other questions about that at all?
No,
okay.
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's, that's pretty much, I think, everything you guys would need to sort of take the website forward.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys don't have any other questions, we can sort of wrap this up, and then I can send you guys through that information.
Does anyone have any questions or anything we want to go over?
No.
No? No, I think that covers it.
Okay, so I'm going to, I'll once I've uploaded the video, I will send it through to you guys. So so we just we take the videos and we upload them to YouTube, and then we make them unlisted, so that only people with the link can view the videos. So yeah, I'll send that through, and I'll send you guys a link through to the other help videos and just a bit of other information, and then we can kind of take it from there.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Yeah,
okay,
so I'll send that email through probably this afternoon, and then we should be good to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.